Welcome back, everyone. I did not expect to go live again so quickly, but as you can see in my title, Annie will be joining me shortly. And we're going to discuss because I don't believe in coincidences, people. And her and I ended up getting times mixed up. And we ended up being live at the same time, and we have apparently very different views on this case. But this is interesting because I'm actually glad this is happening because when it comes to things like this, this is the first time that I am disagreeing with a channel that I actually like and respect. So, and her and I are good friends. So I thought it would be great to actually have a very candid yet very respectful discussion, and share our views. And there she is. What's
Hello.
up?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, great live earlier, by the way.
Thanks. I know we've been like arguing kind of.
I mean, but the thing is like, when it comes to people who are stupid, that's when I get mad. When somebody makes points like you went on and you went over a lot of the things that I happen to be against anybody actually going over, because I personally don't feel that they're relevant to the case, at least not yet. But you at least were like, guys, this is all alleged. This is all speculation. We don't know anything, but I mean, you're thinking out loud. There's nothing wrong with that. And you're, you gave some really good, I want to use a better term than disclaimer, but
Well, thanks. Well, okay, let me ask you this. Do you think what your gut instinct right now, do you think that Summer is still alive?
I have to hope so. I have to hope so.
So you do believe, I mean, there's a difference between believing it and hoping it.
My gut instinct tells me yes. My experience tells me no.
Okay. Fair enough. Do you believe she was abducted?
I believe that is a very good possibility, considering if I'm giving the parents the benefit of the doubt still, then yes. That I don't find it to be totally unbelievable, considering the area that they live in. Because one could argue that considering the area that they live in, it's unlikely, but I definitely think it's unlikely that she wandered off, especially barefooted. So and she doesn't seem, we're not talking about Joe Clyde Daniels here, who was autistic and nonverbal, and would do things that were, when I see a little girl in these videos who seems very aware and intelligent, just your average 5-year-old kid. So I'm not seeing someone who would run away, or because she seems happy in all her videos too. So I'm just not seeing somebody who definitely wandered off. That's not what I'm seeing at all.
So, and what do you make? I know we talked a little bit earlier, like what are your opinions on the swimming situation and the fact that she was underwater for over a minute?
Well, go ahead and share one of your theories, because I know this is one of other theories that you may have, something you've just been tossing around, but go ahead and share that.
I don't know that I'm necessarily hell-bent stuck on it, but, and again, there's so much conversation out there that until we see something in black and white, it's hard to know what is 100% fact versus embellished. But it was said that the 15-year-old boy who was swimming with her had, when he was questioned, he reported that Summer, they were all drinking, not Summer, but like he and the mom, and I think the mom's friend who was his mother, and that Summer went underwater for over a minute, and he noticed and pulled her out, and that somewhere between them leaving that swimming spot and going home there, and again, I don't know that this has been verified, it could just be hearsay, but that he also said that she seemed fine when they dropped her off and she was sleeping. And so then this whole conversation of after the fact drowning and dry drowning, secondhand drowning came up, to where if she had ingested so much water being under the water for that full minute, did she not wake up when she got home? Did it happen later? Because it can happen several hours after the fact. And did the mother then panic and cover this whole thing up and make up this story of her going outside or through the basement door?
See, that it's very plausible. As I told you earlier when we were speaking in private, I thought it was thin. Because to me, it's like, why not just call 911? You know what I mean? Like,
but maybe he thought she was going to get busted for serving an underage kid alcohol, and she's already had 2 kids taken away from her in the past.
But did you just said that the mom of the boy that she served the alcohol to was present there too, wasn't she?
I believe so. I don't know that it's been verified.
Okay. Has it even been verified that this is this is an actual account from this 15-year-old kid?
So again, no, it's all hearsay, and it's like been in the Facebook groups as far as like the friend of him, they're retelling the information, but the police haven't come forward and said any sort of statement that has been officially put on record.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So that's my whole thing on that is, I mean, it's possible if those accounts are true, if this is what this 15-year-old kid actually said, and especially if his mom was present there, then that automatically makes her responsible for his underage drinking, not Summer's mom.
That's true. If she's there, yeah, that's a good point.
Right. So if that's the case, then no, I don't think that happened. But the secondary, what did you say, secondhand drowning? Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, but I don't see why she would not see by her posting videos, because I'm of the opinion, I mean, I don't know for sure, but she posted all those videos of Summer dancing in the rain and whatnot prior to her going missing, right?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then that indicates to me that that she absolutely loved her child, and someone who absolutely loves her child, if she falls asleep and doesn't wake up, she's going to call 911. She's going to panic. She's going to freak out. But I don't know if she would go and hide her body. Now, again, anything's possible when drugs are involved. We don't know exactly what drugs are involved. We don't know if that's going to affect her psychosis, or cause a psychosis. I mean, but
I thought I read somewhere, and who knows if it's true or not, but I thought I read somewhere she commented on one of the Facebook posts in the group saying that she's been clean for 15 years or something like that. I thought I read that somewhere. And I mean, who knows if that's true or not, but I feel like I saw that.
Right. And I mean, right. My whole thing right now is, I'm going to be honest, based on what I already know, do I agree with their parenting techniques, considering the condition of the home? No, I mean, but these are people who don't live in the same civilization that you and I live in. Right. There's certain, I mean, it's the truth. There's certain areas here in Tennessee where it's like a different planet, and they have their own set of rules and they have their own way of doing things. And spanking is not only normal, it's encouraged. I mean, I've seen parents that, like, like I would have a friend over when I lived in West Virginia as a little kid. I would have friends over, and their moms would hang out with my mom, and if one of them talked back to my mom, they would tell my mom, "Hey, if he gets mouthy with you, smack him." You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
which is unheard of today. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, there's no way anybody's putting their hands on my kid. I'm not giving them permission to do that.
No.
You know, but there's a much different culture going on here, and a lot of it is old school, very dated points of view. I mean, I know that she had redneck life or something like that on her Facebook or whatnot. That is the norm over here, you know.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily mean people are racist either, but yeah, you know, but the thing is I just don't, as much as I don't agree with their methods of doing things, as much as I think they should keep their house cleaner, whatever, I'm not ready to come to the conclusion that these are not parents that are absolutely worried about their kids. And then there was the other point of Dawn making the statement, I just don't think that I think she was taken. I think she was kidnapped. And going to that conclusion, people found that really strange. I find it strange in the sense that any parent, and like you made that point earlier, which I've made the same point in many other cases, why aren't these parents going, please find our child? This is what she looks like. This is what's going on. But the fact is, it's a very public case. It's possible that law enforcement has told them to stay out of the limelight, that probably advised them to stay off social media, which they're not doing. But
well, that's a good point, though. They're not staying off social media, him especially, and he has been the more outspoken one, obviously, out of the two. So whether they were under the guidance of not speaking out publicly or not, because the police didn't want them to hinder the investigation, the fact of the matter is they are speaking out. So why isn't one of the things that they're saying pleading for her safe return?
I mean,
if he truly firmly believes she was abducted.
These are people who live in an area where it's a very, very small community, and the community is basically just a church. And there's a lot of places out here. That's why they call it the Bible Belt. There's a lot of places out here like that. And because I'm like I said, I'm inclined to give them the benefit of the doubt. So what I'm thinking is they're not used to having much interaction at all with the outside world. And here is the entire outside world basically attacking them and making implications. You know, so people like this are probably quicker to be more defensive. And that's why she's probably making little statements saying, hey, for those of you thinking I did something to my daughter, I love my daughter more than anything, blah, blah, blah. I think that's a natural response considering where they live and the type of lifestyle that they live and how many people they're used to being around, because they're not around a diverse group of people. That's for sure. So to me, the person who wants to give them the benefit of the doubt just sees this as natural behavior from people in the situation that they're in. And I mean the entire situation, not just their daughter being missing. So I'm just still very inclined to give them the benefit of the doubt, which means that when people speculate, I'm going to try to come up with some sort of counter. And even part of the reason to do that is for myself to be able to not go that way yet. You know what I mean? I don't want to go there yet. I don't, you know, so
yeah, you're not ready to go there. And that makes complete sense. And, you know, God forbid if something ever happened to one of my kids, and if I were on, you know, a press conference or speaking out to the media, I probably too would say he would never run off. He was 100% abducted. This doesn't make sense. Like, absolutely. But when you drill it down a little further, first of all, I think that him automatically making the suggestion that it was trafficking, because I'm sure everybody knows that's a hot button in the country, in the world actually right now, that seemed weird. But also when you look at that footage and the full like totality of the aerial view and how few houses are in that area, few roads, and how dense the terrain is, I find it extremely hard to believe that this kidnapper, regardless who they are, worked their way in and weaved through all of this terrain to a place where they knew there was only 5 houses in whatever mile radius it is. So, and I know there's a little girl there, or there must be a child there, and I'm going to hope that the back door is unlocked, and I'm going to abduct her. Like, there's just so many layers that make me feel like it's less plausible.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough, but there's things to consider too. We don't know how many visitors that they have come through there. We don't know what kind of buddies, Don has. We don't know what kind of buddies the mom has. We don't know. We don't know if they're party people, and there's a lot of people that come through on a regular basis. We don't know if they actually do use drugs. We don't know if they are selling drugs. We don't know.
Yeah, or if they owe money and it's a ransom. Yeah, you're right. We don't know at all. Sure. Totally. But that's what I mean. Even if the parents weren't directly involved, there's some feeling that I can't shake that there is a bigger connection somewhere. And maybe not that they're involved in the sense that they had anything to do with it or they know what happened, but that maybe it is an extension of a friend of theirs or somebody they met along the way or something who had to have known that the kids were going to be there, to where it just seems like, to think that it's a coincidental abduction, no less traffickers, which, like, traffickers are going to Target. That's where the number one pickup spot is, like in the parking lot of Target right now. And they're not going to these rural areas with thick terrain where because they would probably, I would imagine, you would think as a kidnapper or anybody, that the second that somebody goes missing, 911 is going to be called, which we know didn't happen in this case. But because those are such open roads too, and it's not heavily populated, you're not getting away. By the time 911 is called, you are going to stick out like a sore thumb on that road if you abducted somebody. That's what I mean. Like, in cities and in denser populated areas, it's easier to get away with it. It seems like that is a very far stretch to think this is something that was a random occurrence.
Yeah. There's definitely reason to doubt that, for sure. That lots of reasons. And but it's funny because a lot of people felt that Don saying that he thought she might, that he thinks she was taken, him saying that, people were like, oh my God, that's so suspicious that he would say that. I don't know. I mean, I'm not ready to say that that's even suspicious, because I feel like, as I think I mentioned this in your chat, I feel like why would he try to get that kind of attention if he had something to do with it, with her disappearance? What, I mean, if it were me, if I was some dirtbag that did something to my child, and I wanted to cover it up, I would want them out there searching. I would be thinking, oh, she's got to be lost. She must be so scared, and while everybody's out searching and they tell me I can't help search, well, guess what? I'm getting rid of evidence. I'm scrubbing stuff. I'm throwing stuff away. I'm burning stuff. And there's been 8 days to do it.
Right.
So, but so I just don't see why he would.
But to your point, he could easily say the abduction story to get eyes off of him, for them to go look in Mexico, to go look in these other places, to where they wouldn't have any sort of suspicion around him. And not for nothing, it could very well be a situation where he truly does believe that she wandered off or was abducted and is none the wiser. And maybe she never did make it out of swimming. And maybe something happened and maybe the mom is responsible. I mean, and maybe that's why you feel his emotion is so genuine, because perhaps it is.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I just, in my experience, there's no, as my experience in following these cases, no good has ever actually come from trying to break down a loved one's reaction when they're on camera or on a recording, because none of us are professionals. Everybody's got their own personalities. And sometimes there's somebody who can actually make some assessment, but even those professionals on a YouTube channel that make an appearance on a YouTube channel will say something like, well, I've never met the guy. It's almost impossible for me to make a fair assessment of his body language because there's a process that we go through, and looking at the guy on TV or looking at the guy on the computer it's not enough to actually make a fair and accurate body language assessment. So for us to do it is ridiculous in my personal opinion. It's never come out good.
I haven't seen any other, which I haven't watched many videos on this case, but I haven't seen any other creators really discuss or have a problem and take issue with what he said himself or his behavior on any of those interviews. For me, at least, the only issue, if any, that I have is more of like, not necessarily his behavior at all in those interviews, but like all of the circumstances surrounding the bigger picture. The history with the mother, the history of the allegations. And again, although it's hearsay and none of it has been proven, and I said it on my earlier video too, like that typical saying where there's smoke, there's fire. It's like, that's what I have a little bit of uneasiness about, that there's so many things that seem to be in play and that follow this family around and that makes everything else under a magnifying glass, These
kind of things that you're talking about, though, that are in their past is unfortunately very common with people who live this type of lifestyle. But there's and people who live in these types of areas, as much as I hate to make that stereotype, it's just true. It's a very common thing. But what's not very common is that they do something to their own children. So that's why I'm just not quick to just jump to that or even really entertain it. Yeah. That's a whole nother thing.
She's in Tennessee too. I mean, I don't know how far from this, but like, that's a good example, like of it happening close to home.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is to speculate on stuff like this with a family when we don't even have even the slightest idea of what the motive could possibly be.
Totally.
Seems very irresponsible, is what I'm saying.
I agree, and I think that's why I have more of that open door in my mind of, could something have happened to her accidentally, and perhaps this is a cover-up of some sort because of the guilt that is attached with that, only because, to your point, I don't know what the motive would be unless they are heavy drug users or something like that. And if the rumors in the past were true about him trying to sell his older two kids at some point for drug money, like, unless that's true, there's CPS calls and stuff, but there was no allegations that I have seen of outright abuse in the house, except for the DV situation. But like involving the kids. So you're right. I don't know what that motive would be, which is what leads me to believe that if there was some sort of involvement, maybe it is more of an accidental, or I don't know.
Right. I mean, right. But there's so many other possibilities besides considering how much we know, which is very, very little. Because again, all of that stuff is hearsay and rumor. None of it's confirmed, really, other than the protective order that took place, which is also very common, but nothing there actually indicated that he was a danger to his own children, except for the part where she said, "I'm worried about my kids." But on my live earlier, I made the point that nobody with kids who makes a protective order and is trying to get a judge to approve the protective order is not going to include her kids in order to get that kind of sympathy to make sure that they get it.
True, because she included the mother in that as well.
Right. So I'm not only worried about myself, I'm worried for my children. Do it for the kids, Judge. You know what I mean? That's how I'm taking that. So it's just, I get upset because the only reason people could speculate all they want. If I didn't think that it could cause damage, there were over 300 tip calls to the tip line, 300, and not one of them, zero, turned out to be credible in any way, shape, or form. That tells me that too many people are listening to crazy YouTubers and that are spinning crazy narratives, and then going, well, this is what I think happened. Like they're trying to solve the crime, and you're just sitting behind your computer. You're not a professional, and there's literally over, I think he said 106 different law enforcement agencies that are working in concert to find this little girl. And everything in that press conference indicated to me that that they are still performing under the narrative for themselves that she is alive. So it's not, there's nothing to indicate to me that they're looking for a dead body or anything like that. They're if they're telling people to check in your homes for any place that a child could hide, that means that they're still operating under the assumption that she's still alive. So
yes, but at the same time, it's been 9 days, and I don't know off the top of my head the statistics with food and water, but had she in fact wandered off, got lost, or is hiding somewhere to seek shelter, and she hasn't had access to food and water, I would imagine they don't believe she's any longer alive, if that were the case.
Right. I mean, yeah, I'm sure they're also, and I'm not saying that they're dismissing the possibility that she's no longer with us, or even possibly,
they said that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so and to hear the sheriff go up there and be like, we're watching all of you on social media, like we're paying attention to all y'all, and I'm telling you to stop, because it's affecting manpower. It's taking focus away from what from locating Summer, when they have to deal with loonies with their speculative theories calling in on a tip line.
So for the tip line, I agree with you. I mean, who knows what the content is that is being given on that and who's calling, and I'm sure a lot of it is these armchair people who want to think they solve the case. But also with any case, that always happens. When a tip line is open, it's always thousands and thousands of tips pour in, and very few of them ever materialize. So even that they've had 300 in 10 days, which really to me doesn't seem like a lot at all.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's not that many.
Yeah, that is a good point. But but even still, I mean, if anybody's doing that, it's
one too many.
Yeah, exactly. I just I'm still in a place where it's such a fresh thing that for me the responsible thing to do is just continue with updates and really chill out on the speculation. You know what I mean? Like it's one thing to speculate, but it's another thing to just every day go on a live stream and start spinning things and focusing on a Facebook post and then creating this entire scenario because you saw one Facebook post and then decided to translate it to whatever the hell you translated it to in your head,
I agree. And I know I said this on my stream earlier, and I don't think we agree with this necessarily, but just given the location and the circumstances of the terrain and all of that, I find it personally more likely that she did wander off rather than be abducted. And the reason why I say that is because, yeah, she's coherent. She is with it. She's aware, but she's also 5 years old. And if these kids are used to playing in the backyard and in the woods because you live in these rural areas that are safe, and we clearly know she was very outdoorsy and country girl at heart. I don't think it's a far stretch to think she did maybe go out that basement door. She's playing, she's in the woods, and there's such thick terrain. She's 5 years old. She could have easily gotten lost or took a wrong turn and not known how to get back and gone deeper and deeper and deeper into that wooded area, to where then, unfortunately, after so long without food and water, survival comes into question. But that would be my only circumstance in which I think something sinister was not at play. I just don't believe the abduction. I don't know, and I could be wrong. There's something I don't believe.
There's also the possibility that she went out that back door, or out of the basement door, and That's what it was, the basement door, right?
Yeah.
Okay. She went out the basement door and then and wandered off, and then maybe somebody picked her up somewhere along the way before
True.
she ended up before she even had a chance to end up in the train. So I mean, now the polygraph test is something that I can't get out of my head because all law enforcement did in this most recent press conference was confirm that polygraph tests are something that they do use in their investigations. They did not go any further than that. But here's the thing. There's all kinds of ways to look at that. That they're just too loud, and hey, for all you haters, we passed our polygraph test. You know what I mean? And they did, or they're lying about passing a polygraph test, or they never even took one. They're lying about even taking one. That's a possibility as well. But there's, and people were saying, because I was hoping based on that they were going to hopefully rule them out in this press conference and just say, hey, leave the parents alone. We don't know anything about it. Now, they did pretty much say leave the parents alone, but they didn't rule them out. They didn't even hint that they were ruling them out. So, but they did say that they were very cooperative. And she even went into details about how cooperative they were, but did not say anything about a polygraph. And I mean, I'm of the opinion that, because at first I was thinking like, well, if they passed the polygraph, wouldn't they say that? They might not say that they failed it. But then again, realistically, they wouldn't even discuss the polygraph. That's still part of the investigation, excuse me.
Yeah.
So why would they even bring it up? Why would they confirm or disconfirm it?
I believe that they did give a polygraph, and I think that because of how carefully she was to word that statement, where she said, I can't confirm or deny that it was given, but polygraphs are a tool and a resource that we use, and we are using every resource in this case to do that. So that led me to believe that a polygraph was in fact conducted. Now, if they passed it like he is saying, you're right. I don't know that they would make that public knowledge. I don't even know that they would necessarily have told them right out of the gate that they passed, And if they didn't pass, they absolutely would never put that on air during a press conference, because vultures would just go 10 speed harder than what they're doing now.
For sure.
And they also were easy to confirm that no search warrants have been executed. So it's like they're definitely being careful with what information they're releasing.
I mean, and even that, I mean, most cases, and somebody asks if any search warrants have been executed, a lot of times they go, we cannot discuss an ongoing investigation. They just stonewall the press straight up. They were actually pretty candid here, as much as I believe that they can without hindering their investigation. But since there have not been any search warrants executed and it's been 9 days, that to me tells me that nobody is actually a suspect yet. I'm not saying that's for sure, but that's an indication to me to feel that way.
Or they don't have legal grounds to get the warrant signed off on because they don't have any evidence.
And I'm not seeing, if something happened in that house, I'm not seeing this couple being, criminal masterminds that can get rid of all the evidence that well. But the fact is we don't know if there is any evidence in the house because, again, they have not conducted a search, or at least not that kind of search. Mm-hmm. So, as far as we know, they're just looking for Summer in the hopes of bringing her home alive and safely.
And every agency, though, handles it differently. But I would think that if they took the poly test and if they passed, and if they allowed them, search warrant or not, to come in and search, that they would say the family's being very cooperative. They took the poly test, they passed. We haven't executed any search warrants, but Dawn and Candace have allowed us in the home to conduct a search. Because if you think back to the Orrin and Orson West case, that was one of the first things that was said was they handed their tech over to us immediately. We didn't even need to seize it. And it makes me wonder too, have they searched the home? Did the family let them? Or is it similar to a Tristan Bailey case where they're saying, no, you're not coming in without a warrant, which in that case, is there something to hide?
All right. I'm glad that Ace's Heidi brought this up. She's saying, look at the Joe Clyde Daniels case. And I know you didn't actually follow that one really, but that's the one that I just covered. And the father, Joe Ray Daniels, was found guilty, and all they had was circumstantial evidence. The thing about Tennessee here, the state of Tennessee, you can be convicted on circumstantial evidence, and he got rid of all the physical evidence. So I'm glad she's bringing this up, because the difference here is that Joe Ray Daniels is he was given an IQ test early on when he was first arrested and scored at a near genius level. And
you told me that.
Right. And by looking at him, you don't think that at all. So this is a guy who knows about DNA. He watches a lot of crime shows. He understands how that works. So he was smart and got rid of everything that they could compare DNA to. So apparently his story was that everybody shared a toothbrush. So that's why there was no toothbrush for Joe Clyde, or, hairbrush, because he didn't have any hair. They kept his hair so short that he didn't need a hairbrush, or a comb or anything like that. This is, I'm just not ready to my whole thing right now is I want to do everything. I really want this child found. And for me, the most logical thing to do and the most responsible thing to do is do exactly what law enforcement is saying in these press conferences. I mean, they're throwing us a bone here by giving us the information that they're giving us. I feel like the least we could do to help this child is to do what they're advising us to do. And it's really difficult too, because Tennessee, I mean, when Joe Clyde Daniels went missing, everybody was out searching for him, because there's a big sense of community out here in Tennessee. And so a lot of people here, including myself, especially now that I'm not working right now, I got time. I would love to be out there helping search, but I can't. They won't let us. You can't even donate anymore. There was one thing that you could do was actually donate supplies to all of these men and women out there searching, these professional men and women out there searching. But now you can't even do that, because for a very refreshing reason, because they're overwhelmed with the donations. There's so many donations that they can't manage them. So here, I am criticizing a lot of YouTubers for what they're doing and saying and what they're causing. But at the same time, that's not to say that I don't recognize the more overwhelming sense of community and support that are just focused on this little girl being found, and hopefully safely and unharmed. So yeah. Tony Damien says that she just sent you an email.
Let me see.
And I just saw a video with Summer's Sunday school teacher, young lady, very pretty and very, kind. And she was even saying, I think the best thing for us to do is show this family support until there's really any reason not to.
Right. And everything that's happened in their past has happened in their past. Tony, I just got your email. I saw this earlier too, and I believe there's a conviction on this person's record as well. I'll forward you the email. I agree. I think that I'm not in any of the Facebook groups. I've been sent screenshots of what's going on in there, and I think it's similar in every case. We've seen it literally happen in every case where people just go crazy. And there's theories and there's conspiracy, and once you, like you said, once you get it put in your mind that something else may have happened, it's like you dig your heels in.
Yeah, and your chat had a lot of people in it, and a lot of the people in your chat were a lot of my listeners, and they know what I've been saying this entire time. Sorry, I'm just interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So he's being yeah. I don't want to get into that in here, but
yeah,
that is very interesting.
Yeah.
I definitely want to kind of look into that. And that actually makes sense. I don't want to, again, we don't want to get too deep into it, but when seeing that makes me go, okay, you know, it makes a little bit of sense. But I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, it's been, I would understand more. Well, no. Actually, what I was going to say, what I was saying before, I was in your chat, and we have, you and I. There was a lot of my listeners in your chat, and we clearly disagreed on a lot of the things. And for the most part, your chat was extremely respectful. There was like 2 comments that needed to be. There was a couple of comments that shouldn't have been deleted. But because somebody and their heart was in the right place, because they were deleting the TikTok information. But I guess that moderator didn't realize that you shared the TikTok. It was okay. You were, I mean, it's a public TikTok. You know what I mean? So their heart was in the right place, but I was just like, you chill out with the deleting. But my point of that is everybody was being respectful. There was no over speculation. So that's, when you have a creator who does things in a responsible fashion, and you're going to have listeners that are attracted to that. And those listeners are usually going to be rational, logical people. And so I was really grateful for that. But the problem is that when people are there's other channels that are not true crime channels, they're drama channels, and they're putting out this information, and they're not actually looking at the facts of the case and the circumstances of the case itself. They're only digging into the personal information, and then going, "Oh my God, look at that! What kind of a mom shaves their child's head?" And it's like, you don't know what the circumstances were under
right.
that.
You don't know the reasons behind it. You're just kind of running wild and leeching onto something.
I could do a whole live speculating on that as to logical reasons as to why that happened. You know what I mean? Like, there's not, and I just don't feel, I'm not interested in doing so. But yeah, I mean, it's just, when you have that going on, then you're going to have people hate, and then they're going to try to contact these people. And I would rather be wrong about their innocence than be wrong about their guilt. Because if they have nothing to do with this, if they're just these 2 people who probably should have better habits, definitely should have better habits when it comes to parenting, in my personal opinion. But that doesn't mean that they're not missing and they're tortured right now, because their smallest is gone and missing. They don't know where she is.
Absolutely. Of course. You have no idea what kind of emotion that they must be going through.
Right. So I'm just not, that's all I keep thinking about. I keep going back to Shane Carey, and everything he went through. I mean, it was awful. It was just awful. He was dragged on a live stream for hours.
Yeah.
And just somebody just spewing out all these rumors about him, that even if they're true, they were irrelevant and none of anybody's business. And then he, the next thing you know, while this live is going on, they catch Megan Faramuska, and then this person ends up on like Good Morning America and like Dateline, flown out to New York, put up in a hotel. You know what I'm saying? Like she's some sort of hero, and I'm just like, did nobody listen to that? Like she did absolutely nothing, and it made me mad. You know,
I know
and
who you're talking about. I haven't watched it. I know who you're talking about because you've talked to me
oh,
about this
everybody
before,
knows
but I
who I'm
haven't
talking about.
watched it.
Everybody who watches my channel knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
you know, but it doesn't change the fact that was so irresponsible, because this guy now there's no denying that he's just a guy now in a situation that he had no way of preparing that he was going to be in, and he's going to raise this little baby by himself. And he's got to change bad habits that he's got. You know, he's got to completely change his lifestyle because he was relying on his, you know, significant other to do the mothering. Now he's got to be the mom and the dad. Yeah. So, you know, and it's just, you know, it's just the thought of that is what consumes me. The thought of these people suffering and in worry, and then on top of it having to deal with being attacked all over the internet.
Right, especially unwarranted when there isn't any proof. I totally get where you're coming from, and I think that, well, I believe it's important to kind of see everything as a whole before you jump to any conclusions either way. I get where you're saying it's, you know, it becomes dangerous and reckless for people to just jump on these bandwagons and roll with it if there isn't a shred of proof in that direction, which 100% there is absolutely at this moment, except for the changing stories a little bit and some of the behavior, no proof that they were involved in something bigger behind this. And that's why I think we just have to trust that law enforcement is searching and that it'll work itself out.
I mean, they're gonna find the truth. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like,
they will. It's just gonna take time.
If you look at the Joe Clyde Daniels case, I mean, we didn't know almost anything that was going on. There was a couple of little details that were just rumor that were confirmed or disproved during the trial. And then there was a bunch of other things that came out during the trial that we were just like, what? You know, and so we have to understand that law enforcement is giving us a lot more information than most of the time they normally would. Right. So, but Annie, I really, really appreciate you coming on here, man.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Sorry I have to jump off, but
no, you're
mommy
good.
Duty calls.
Yeah. No, appreciate it.
But we'll talk more on this, and then let's talk about what I just sent you to.
Right on. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Later, Annie. Yeah. So there you have it. I mean, you know, when you have a responsible creator who has a different opinion, as long as you're responsible and you explain, which Annie did clearly, because a lot of people are saying, oh, well, you know, Annie's doing the same thing that you're saying that all these other people are doing. No, she collected everything that she knows about the facts of the case, and then anything that was rumor or speculation, she kept on reiterating over and over again that it's just rumor or speculation, you know. And she did, you know, but she did say things made her uneasy, and that's where her and I disagreed, because these are things that don't make me uneasy at all. Uneasy in the sense of, you know, there needs to be, you know, they should probably improve their habits as far as their living conditions and their methods of parenting. But you know, you got to understand, man, when such a rural area where you only interact with so many people and there's no diversity in who you interact with, there's certain behavior that's to be expected. There's certain behavior that's to be expected, and in no way did you see Annie decide to call up one of these parents on a live stream. You know what I'm saying? So this is, you know, she's being realistic and looking at everything because, you know, that makes sense. But I don't see, you know, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, I mean, how do you know that, Tracy Coward? How do you know that? Um, it doesn't make sense to take these things and start getting people on your panel and going, well, I think it was this and this and this and this, and I think, you know, oh, definitely it was this and this and this. No, man, like, you don't definitely know anything. You don't definitely know anything, man. And then you're gonna call, like, I mean, come on, man. You know, that's I mean, we could do better, man. As YouTubers, we could do better. You know, we don't need to be, you know, you could speculate without causing damage, you know. At the very least, put a banner on your screen saying don't contact anybody, much less contacting yourself on a live stream. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just crazy. That's the thing is Mariah W. That's a rumor too. The 15-year-old, we don't even know if he actually said these things. We don't know. So, you know, when you hear Annie make a theory, you're not going to hear her make this theory without acknowledging the fact that it's based on rumor. You know, she's not up here going, oh, well, this happened and this happened. You know what I mean? Like that one channel that I posted the little screen recording of. I mean, you know, they were like, well, CPS told them they got to clean their house and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's not I'm like, well, did you read a CPS report that said that? Or did you just hear that? Well, not from CPS, but all right, then I don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense. You know, there's no, like, if you got a brain, you can get a hold of this information and not jump to unfounded conclusions. Like, it's real easy to do that, you know? Like, I'm hearing everything that these people are saying. You know what I'm saying? You don't see me up here taking all that information and being like, oh my God. Like, you don't have to do that. You just, I mean, because it's not, you come off like it's fact, and then you got knuckleheads calling tip lines. You know, you got knuckleheads calling tip lines and tying up resources. I mean, that's just how that is. Yeah, this is. Yeah, now there is a little bit of new information. And this particular person, I'm not going to mind talking about him based on what I found out about him. So, and I think you guys will agree with me. But this particular new information, what it leads me to believe, it doesn't change my mind. Put it that way. I still feel the same. As a matter of fact, it may or may not actually go towards what I'm talking about. So there's definitely new information, and I'm not sure about sharing it just yet. And he's not sure about sharing it just yet. But I like that I have a logical and rational creator who I don't agree with everything on, that I can discuss things with in a rational manner, because she's intelligent and she's giving her opinions, but she's doing so in a very responsible fashion. And this is one of the many reasons why I respect her, not just as a creator, but as a person. And she was kind enough to come on this live with me, so we could actually discuss it. Because I was like, you don't. I was texting her and I was like, yeah, we're probably gonna have to do it live. like we don't, because again, man, you're gonna have all these fools out here that I'm attacking, going, well, Annie's doing the same thing. No, she's not. She's not doing the same thing you're doing. Annie is being very clear that she has opinions that are technically unfounded based on rumor and speculation, because she's acknowledging the fact that this is all rumor and speculation. All the information we have, aside from what law enforcement has told us, is rumor and speculation, aside from the protective order against Don. Everything else, literally everything. So, you know, I mean, if you're going to speculate, at least, you know, and you've got, you know, thousands of people following you and watching you, at least give that disclaimer. At least give that disclaimer, and at least make it clear that the stuff is rumor and speculation that you're basing a theory on. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, this creator actually called the dad. Yeah, it was gross, man. It was gross. I was just like, what are you doing? Let's see, it was nice to watch two people who have different opinions of what happened have a good conversation and listen and respect each other's views. That's what you do when you're a rational, logical person. When you're two rational, logical people, you can do that. Like the other day, I was talking about the gun issue. Like, what upset me about that was that we could not have a discussion about it. That's what made me upset. That somebody in the chat was getting all worked up over it. Haven't seen them in my chat since. Over that. You know what I mean? Like, and I was not condescending to this person. I wasn't insulting this person in any way, shape, or form. It was just a subject that was too sensitive for them and had to just get all in my chat, which there's no reason for that. Why can't we just talk? You know what I'm saying? Why can't you just express your opinion in a respectful manner? And I know that I'm guilty of doing it, but when I just see, there's the thing. When I see just what's just blatant stupidity, I have to call it out. And I'm not going to treat stupidity with respect. Just not. Because you're insulting me with your stupidity. I'm insulted by your stupidity. So when I call you stupid, it's stupid is as stupid does, just like Forrest Gump says. You know what I mean? You do something stupid, it merits being called stupid. When you consistently do things that are stupid, you merit being called stupid. Sorry. Yeah, let's not name people's names up in here, man. Sometimes we can, but not when it comes to this. I mean, yeah, dude, like people, I mean, it's a sensitive issue. I mean, somebody could have been a victim of just random gun violence, you know, and that's an understandable perspective to have. You know, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you know, even if that's the case, you know, don't discuss the case if you can't discuss it. Don't discuss the issue if you can't discuss it rationally, because you're not going to get through to anybody by getting emotional about it. You know what I mean? You're just not. You're not going to change anybody's mind. Same here, Aces Heidi. Same here. I would much rather be called out if I'm acting like a fool. Let's see. No, see, yeah, no, I disagree. I disagree with that because I listened to that live and all I heard was a bunch of faith shaming. That's straight up. That's what I heard. A bunch of faith and poverty shaming. Totally off the issue. Had nothing to do with anything. Just taking jabs at the guy because she didn't like the guy. And she didn't understand his lifestyle or where he comes from, and didn't respect it. Yeah, I don't think that's another thing. Yeah, I don't think that the house being dirty is uh is relevant. It's not relevant at all. I mean, being a slob does not make you a killer. I'm a slob. Like straight up, dude. Like like I let my room get so messy before I'm just like, all right, Jesus. Now I got to do something about it. Cuz I'm a bachelor, I live alone. You know what I mean? I don't make my bed. I think it's totally arbitrary, you know? Like, I mean, I'm a clean person. I'm just a messy person. But I didn't see so much dirt inside that house. I just saw messiness. I saw stuff on the floor. I mean, and you've got 4 kids in the house. Carpets are going to get stained, man. Carpets are going to get stained. 4 rambunctious kids who shoot each other with BB guns for fun, which is not uncommon, by the way, but shoot each other with BB guns for fun, allegedly. Well, you know what? They're staining carpets. I guarantee you they're staining carpets. I don't care what you say. There's no way that these kids are like, oh, oops. Oh. Like the older brother's going to be like, Summer, please use a coaster. Please. That's not happening in that house, dude. That doesn't mean nobody got killed. So, I mean, but I'm leaning towards my opinion, and again, this is just based on rumor. And it's not even based on rumor. It's just based on the best thing that I could come up with what we know for fact so far. All the things that we know for fact, which is very, very, very little. I'm of the opinion she wandered out of the house. At least the part of the side of me that wants to give the parents the benefit of the doubt. She wandered out of the house, and as she was wandering, someone saw her and picked her up. No witnesses around, nobody to see it. Very rural area. It makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. See, nah, man. I'm not. See, background. The background means nothing. Again, you're sitting here going, the background of too many family members puts too much coincidence into play for me. You don't have so many facts on the background of these people. You have a lot of allegations. You have a lot of rumors on the background of these people. That's what you have. Other than, I just said this twice, other than the protective order against the husband, Like, that's all you got. That in no way indicates that he could have done something. I mean, he could have. Anybody could have, but no way, in no way indicates to me that he likely did something. I agree with you, man. Yeah, you don't know anything, dude. You don't know anything. The best thing that we could do is do what the professionals are telling us to do. We all want to help. But do you want to help because you feel like being entertaining? And then call it help? So what? So what? If he's a convicted felon, so what? That makes him somebody capable of killing his own child? Really? You know how many felonies are out there? Now you show me a kidnapping and torture of a child or essay of a child charge, that's a different story. And even Annie disproved there was the one guy that had the essay charge, and it was statutory. The person was 18 months younger than him. You know how common that is in this area? You know what the legal age of consent in Georgia is, or at least it was when I lived there? 16. I thought it was disgusting. Dude, I'm 45. I'm going to be 46. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be 46 years old. I can't even look at an 18-year-old like that. I just can't. I can't. It's too weird. It's too weird. That girl's not ready for what I know. You know what I'm saying? That's not. Yeah. Well, that's not what Annie said on her live, Tiffany. So again, do you have a fact? Do you have facts on this? Do you have a document, a court document that states this? Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy to me, dude. That's so weird. Yeah. I'm not messing with no 16-year-old, dude. I'm not messing with no 18-year-old. I'm not messing with no 21-year-old. I feel like 25 is the lowest of the low. And I'm not attracted to 25-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? But 25 is like the lowest of the low. Like if car insurance companies feel like, all right, well, you're good now. You know what I mean? That's probably good enough for me, depending on the circumstances. But there's I'm not, nah. There's no circumstance where I would go any lower than 25. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. I mean, I'm being real. You know what I'm saying? Like that's insurance. Dude, that's insurance. You know what I mean? That's insurance. Like they're making that decision based on making money. You know what I mean? And they're like, all right. Thank you, Kate S, for clearing that up. I appreciate that. See, this is why I love you guys, man. That's what I'm saying. Dude. See, now Tracy Coward, you're more my type. Mm-hmm. Just saying. Just saying. I like them. I like them a little bit older. Generally. like a little bit older. Older the berry, the sweeter the juice. Remember Friday? That movie's so funny. Hey, calm down over there, Tracy Coward. Calm down over here with a T in your avatar. I don't even know nothing about you. Don't get excited, okay? Just saying. That age area, I'm definitely more attracted to. And that's about the limit, too. I'm not trying to, 60. I mean, you got to be like, fine. You know what I mean? But I like the wisdom. I like the wisdom. I like the wisdom that comes with age. Yeah. 45, 55 is that's definitely my those ages, definitely my preference. Absolutely. See, Lady D, 51, okay. See, look, boyfriend is 46, and I bet you he loves her. Dude is like, hell yeah. Probably never fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, older women, they're tired. You know what I'm saying? They're tired. They got the only thing, their energy, the only thing that they want to spend that kind of energy on is sex. They're not trying to argue, fight, not trying to, not trying to deal with drama. That's nice. That's peaceful. It's beautiful. Peaceful and beautiful. You know what I mean? Or you just chill. You can sit in the same room. Don't even have to sit next to each other. You sit in the same room and everything's all good. You know? You watch the same show. You know what? I'm going to stretch out my legs, man. We'll be in bed together later on. We don't have to be joined at the hips. No reason. No reason for all that. Beverly P, I'm being real. Okay? I'm being real. 25. Like, that's as low as it gets right there. That's the once a car insurance company tells me that you're responsible. I mean, yeah. If you're responsible enough to handle a sports car, you're responsible enough probably to handle me. But I'm just not necessarily into it. You know what I mean? All right. I'm gonna check just out of chance. See if there's any. Yeah, man. That press conference, as frustrating as it was for them to say, I mean, it's out of the norm, but I got the impression that that this was driving them. This guy that was in charge of the search and in charge of the safety conditions of the search, this guy, he was making me feel a lot better, because he was like, we are relentless. We are going to find her. We're not going to stop. And the way he was explaining things, basically saying something like, I liked that he, oh man, it's so funny. There's people in Patreon and they're like, and in the Discord, it's like, hey, we're over here right now. But yeah, I felt, I liked that he was like, yeah, it's harder and it's rougher, but he seemed to be driven by the challenge. You know, he seemed to be, it seemed to light him up. You know what I mean? I like that. And then they were saying, somebody made some comment about what's hurting their efforts. And he was like, nah, make no mistake. Nothing's hurting us, because every time we've had an obstacle, we've overcome that obstacle. We've pushed forward, you know? I love that reassurance. I love hearing that. I don't want to see this guy stand up there and be all discouraged going, oh man, I don't know what we're going to do, man. It's rough out there. You know, that dude's not doing that. That dude is out there going, yo, rest assured, we're doing everything that can be done. Everything. I mean, yeah, you got to understand that areas like this, some parts of these areas where people don't have immediate neighbors right next to them, and they probably grew up generations in this area, in the same property, because they own the property and they pass the property down generation after generation. Well, they don't get around much and they don't see much. They watch TV, they got the internet, but that's it. Everything is theory to them. They look at that and go, that's another world that I don't even have to worry about. So guys, yeah, so Summer Moon Utah Wells, missing from Rogersville, Tennessee, age 5, blonde hair, blue eyes, 3 foot tall, weighs 40 pounds. Description: last seen wearing gray pants, a pink shirt, and possibly barefoot. Any information, any credible information, please call 1-800-TBI-FIND. Again, that's 1-800-TBI-FIND. And TBI stands for the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is also on Twitter. You could follow them on Twitter. Dude, my dad was, my mom was in her 20s, early 20s, I think, when she married my dad. My dad was already like 50. Like, seriously. When I was a year old when my dad died, and he was 57. He was 58, because on my birth certificate it says he's 57. I mean, those are Tennessee problems, bro. The horse, everyone is questioning it. It seems normal to me. Looked like it escaped and was dragging a fence. Someone probably tied it up to the gate. Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, because people ride horses out there, dude. Why is that weird? No, Mandy Smith. Sorry. Tell you what, though, you'll know first. When I'm ready to talk about it, I'll make sure to let you guys know first, okay? Yeah, somebody done already commented on one of my videos. I guess the last one that I just did, talking about, did you see the horse? Oh my God. Like, dude, people ride horses out here. People raise horses. It's a normal thing. And yeah, if you're not on Patreon, man, join Patreon, dude. We have fun. I would love to have you. And like I said, this particular development, you Patreon people will know first in Discord. I'll let you guys know when both me and Annie basically agree that it's a productive thing to discuss. And not, I mean, she can go ahead and talk about it whenever the hell she wants. I'm not trying to say that, one of us has to approve the other discussing something. That's not how it works. But we're just happened. She happened to share that information with me, and we both agreed that it was probably best to just keep it under wraps right now. And her and I will be discussing it later. Mr. Higginbottom 1. Cherry K has a Discord, which I'm actually pretty active in. But Cherry K has a Discord for Patreon only members. So if you join Patreon, you will get access to that Discord. We're a tight group. Tart with a Heart just dropped the link, Aces Heidi, but I will go ahead and drop it again. Hold on. All right, there you go. I just dropped the Patreon link in chat, guys. And Cherry K immediately followed. Why am I working faster than my moderators? I'm just playing. You guys are doing awesome, man. I really appreciate all your help. You guys are amazing. It's so funny. Yeah. Like, what's funny is Cherry K could kick me out of that Discord anytime she wants. It's so funny. The whole it's based solely on my Patreon and for my Patreon members, but she's like, nah, this is my shit. You're not gonna know this. If it involves Tiffany 13, if it involves the past of these parents, I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm not ready to do that yet. I'm not ready to speculate on them having done something to their own child just yet. Just not doing that. I am still operating under the assumption that they are the most worried people for this child right now. And that's not going to change until there's an arrest made. It's not even going to change if they execute a search warrant on the property. It's gonna sway me a little. I'll give you that. It'll sway me a little, but it's not going to convince me. Yeah, dude. There's horses in Tennessee, bro. Like, I don't know why it was like everybody was, oh my God, horse. Like, have you been listening? Have you been listening to how law enforcement's been describing that area? Like, there's horses, dude. See, I don't even want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. See, this is the kind of comments, man, that infuriate me, dude. Like, I've already made it clear. Do I agree with their methods in parenting? No. But I'm telling you right now, Tracy Coward, you don't have your eye on your child every waking moment. I guarantee you don't. And if you're that kind of helicopter mom, you're probably have an unhealthy relationship with your child. Just gonna be real with you. You know what I'm saying? You got it. The way to teach a child how to be independent is to grant that child a certain level of independence. Welcome, Stacy, to Patreon. That is how you do it. You create the scenario for the child to experience. That's how they learn. You are never, ever, ever going to teach a child independence unless you give them some independence. So I don't want to hear, oh, you never leave a baby out of your sight. I mean, first of all, she's 5. She's not exactly a baby. She probably figured it was safe enough to explore that area. She probably does it all the time. Not wanders off to where they can't find her, but I'm sure that she's confined to a certain part, and the mom says, hey, you never go past that tree right there. I mean, it's not uncommon. Like, you know, and then to imply that if she was taken because she left her out of her sight. I mean, are you going to tell me it's Adam it's John Walsh's mom or wife's fault that Adam Walsh went missing because he disappeared from the store? Somebody nabbed him. Somebody grabbed that kid. You know what I'm saying? You tell me, dude, when I was a kid, nobody kidnapped me. When I was a kid, my mom would be like, we'd go to the mall. My mom would be like, okay, meet me here in 30 minutes. And you better believe, man, if I wasn't there on the dot in 30 minutes, there was hell to pay. Guaranteed. Meet me here 30 minutes. All right? Because I'm not trying to go with my mom to try on shoes. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to go to the arcade, play video games. I'm trying to go get a slice of Sbarro, some Chick-fil-A. I'm not trying to stand next to my mom, bored as hell, while she's rummaging through the underwear bin at Victoria's Secret. You know what I mean? Like, exactly. They know you can't watch them 24/7, and they watch for that window. Sure. Now, that's assuming that she was taken. We did live in very different times, Holly Lovin. It's good to see you. Welcome. Yeah, I mean, but kids still got kidnapped back then. Dude, you're acting like this is new. Kids disappearing. Like this is new. Back in the day, there was always a missing kid on a milk carton. That was the thing. There's always a kid on a milk carton. I had McGruff, the crime dog, coming into my elementary school talking to me about how you're not supposed to take candy from strangers or get into a vehicle with a stranger, and going over all the different lines that strangers would say to get you in their car, such as, oh, your parents were in an accident. I'm going to take you to them. They told me to come pick you up. I'm a friend of the family's, but your parents were in an accident. They're hurt real bad. Get in the car. That was back in the 80s, man. The only difference in time that we live in now, the only difference in that time then and our time now, is that you got helicopter gluten allergy moms now. Yeah, McGruff the crime dog, Paula K. Hell yeah, dude. Take a bite out of crime. Yeah, dude. That was my jam. Yeah, Dog Watch, man. Dare. Yeah, you had Nancy Reagan. Nancy You had Nancy Reagan with the whole Just Say No campaign. People walking around with t-shirts. I was wearing a t-shirt that said Just Say No. And then I grew up. Baseball strike happened. Everything changed. Everything changed for me. I still feel like I wonder if I have a valid lawsuit against those baseball players that were my heroes back then that strike. But yeah, man, dare to keep kids off drugs. I moved to Miami. If you were in middle school, if you wore a Dare t-shirt, dude, you were getting your ass kicked. You were automatically a snitch. That's that's how it was. Yeah. Now the irony, what I was going to get at about Nancy Reagan doing the Just Say No campaign, the irony of that was funny because that's when the crack epidemic like hit, right? And apparently now it's still considered a conspiracy theory, but this is one of those conspiracy theories that I actually kind of believe, that the crack epidemic was basically, it was the CIA and the FBI that actually put crack out on the streets. The motive, I believe, was to boost the economy. They were working in concert with drug traffickers, and making a profit. The government was making a profit off of the demise of inner city communities. I believe that. You may not, but so you got Ronald Reagan slinging dope, and then you got Nancy Reagan saying, "Just say no." I find that funny. Yo, Sbarro, dude. Sbarro. Yo, listen, Tiffany, we all hear you, bro. Calm down. Okay? Give a shit if he's honest or not. You're missing my point. I don't care if the guy's honest or not, necessarily. A lot of people are liars. That doesn't make them murderers of their own kids. Yeah, I mean, never take your eyes off your child. I mean, come on, man. Like, that's a victim. If that child was kidnapped, then those parents are victims. You know what I'm saying? If they didn't have anything to do with facilitating this kidnapping, then they're victims. You don't get to blame them because they left the child alone for a minute. You know what I'm saying? My buddy got his car stolen. That's his fault? That's his fault because he lost his key? You know what I mean? Now he got it back. GPS located it. Police got it. He got his car back. But I mean, that makes him any less of a victim of car theft? That he lost his key? I mean, come on, man. Right. No, and I'm just grateful, Mrs. R&B. I mean, yeah, these are people. These are people. Um, that uh, at least, like, I could deal with that. I mean, it makes me mad and it bothers me, but I can deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't. The fact that law enforcement is focused on finding her alive right now, that makes me feel better. All I care about right now is what law enforcement's doing and what I can do based on what they're doing. You know? No, I did not have a Dare shirt. Jeremy will tell you. Jeremy. Uh, Jeremy will tell you. Um, yeah. I mean, we met in high school. We met in my first year of high school. And he'll tell you, man, if you were wearing a Dare t-shirt, that meant your ass. You were a snitch. You were labeled a snitch. You might as well just have a shirt on that said snitch. It said rat. I had a McGruff coloring book too, man. I mean, I lost it like the same week I had it. Yeah, I was all straight edge. Yeah, exactly. Dude, it didn't matter what it was. If you put that thing in front of me, I was smoking it. I don't, it didn't matter what it was. Somebody would dare me to smoke something, I was smoking it. It didn't matter what it was. I didn't care what it was. Yeah, narc. Narc. Look at this dude wearing a Dare shirt. Narc. Dude, I lost books. I just didn't care about books, man, when I was a kid. I cared about them as far as like I would cut class in high school and just sit in the library and read books. That's what I did. Like and nobody bothered me. It was the weirdest thing in the world. We had a friend that she was yeah, oh, that's hilarious, dude. You can tell we've known each other since the 9th grade, right? So this we had this friend. She was in charge of the art gallery. She got passes from her classes to where she could just sit in the art gallery and paint, and we would just go in there and hang out with her. I just talked to her last night, actually. And she's had a hell of a week. I'm thinking about her like crazy because her brother, who I met a few times and was a great guy. He passed, and then once they got everything in order to where they had to go up from Florida to New York to go make all the arrangements for him. On the way up there, she gets word that her mother died as well. On the way up there to work out the arrangements for her brother. So I blew my mind, man. Yeah, Jeremy was the treasurer. I don't know why that makes me laugh. I think that's hilarious. Jeremy being the treasurer of the art gallery, not what happened to my friend and her family. Of course not. Dude, that doesn't surprise me. Dude, whenever I see things like that and then it says Miami, I'm like, figures. Yeah, dude. You know how many? You know how many they actually had to play commercials just before I left Miami. You like they had paid messages. They had commercials that were there just to tell you, like PSAs of make sure that your contractor is licensed. Make sure that when you make renovations in your home, it was licensed. I mean, that's crazy. Like, isn't that common sense? But you just got people that are just like like Jeremy's stepdad will just be like, yeah, I'm a contractor. Just to get work. You know what I mean? I did that. This is a true story. Me and Jeremy's stepdad, like, we both needed jobs, and we went to like a workforce thing where they find you a job, right, for that day, and it's like labor, right? And this dude, he's, you know, and he's super Cuban. He's like, oh yeah, listen to me, bro. Listen to me. When we get in there, you just do what I say, okay? Follow my lead, do what I say. Do what I say, everything I say. And I'd be like, all right, you know, and there we go in there, and they're like, okay, are you laborers or are you carpenters? And then I'd go, and he smacked me and go, we're carpenters. Yeah, carpenters. Because they pay you more if you're a carpenter. And the guy who calls the workforce to try to get carpenters so he can contract, like, we get there and we clearly didn't know what we were doing. Like, he hired carpenters because he didn't want to have to tell us what he needed. And, you know, he wanted to be able to just be like, I want this done and I want it to work. Yeah, culo con diente. And that, yeah, that guy came up with this stupid inside joke because we were just goofing off on the job. We had to make these docks, right? We basically had to build these docks. And this dude's screwing around, shooting a nail gun. I was screwing around too. But this was like my parental figure, sort of. You know, it was one of my best friend's stepdads. You know what I mean? And he's like taking the hammer and pulling the thing back and shooting the nail gun into the water because we were building a dock right off of the bay of the on Fort Lauderdale. Like, it was, yeah, exactly, Deborah Lee, exactly. I know a guy. Yeah, this dude, he was just goofing off. And he starts making fun of, like, his, like, coming up with these ridiculously random thoughts that I was like, what the hell are you even talking about, dude? And he just kept saying, you know, what if there was a, bro, what if like you were with this chick and her asshole had teeth? Culo con diente. And I like, what are you talking about? Culo con diente. And I, what? Yeah, we lasted on that job about a week. Real talk. All right. That's enough. So yeah. Hey, thanks again to Annie from 10 to Life for joining. I had a great conversation with her. I always have great conversations with her, man. I'm really proud to call her a friend, and as a creator, I respect her quite a bit. So, anyways, I love you guys very much, and we will do this again very soon, my friend.